Hi, it's Linda. Welcome back to the Daily Dose, where we talk about the energy that's moving through all of us right now and make it useful for real life. No fancy language, just plain talk and real life. Let's get started. In our last chat, we met the you were made for the full spectrum, not just the pretty parts energy, and talked about what it is and why it matters. Today, we meet the Miss Cranky Pants part of this energy. This one has two versions. Knowing about the cranky energy is especially important if you have consistent access to this energy, like I do. See if you can spot yourself in these low vibe, icky patterns in your life. Ugh. Miss Cranky here is beating herself up again. And the thing she's beating herself up about? Her own rhythm. When you're in the you were made for the full spectrum energy, you're wired for variation, for seasons, not consistency, for the full range of what life looks and feels like, the highs and lows, the productive stretches and the idle ones, and the days when you're magnetic and unstoppable. And the days when you honestly can't make yourself care about having the nicely organized, color-coded schedule everyone else seems to live by. This is the energy of monotony. The Miss Cranky Pants version of the you were meant for the full spectrum, not just the pretty parts energy. Monotony. This one was tough for me to understand. Monotony here isn't boredom from having nothing to do. This is trying to force yourself into a version of consistency, monotony, that you weren't made for. And you beat yourself up because you struggle with consistency and the world values consistency. Sucks. You try. You start a morning routine that lasts for 5 days before it falls apart. You put together a habit tracker and start strong with it, and then it fades away and disappears altogether. And then you feel guilty. And you judge yourself harshly. You say to yourself, everyone else can do this, why can't I? The cranky side of you were made for the full spectrum energy is when you shame yourself for your extremes. You try to force a consistency that doesn't fit. You try to control the natural waves of your rhythm because you've decided or you've been conditioned to feel that your way of moving through life is a problem. The other version of Miss Cranky Pants in the you were made for the full spectrum energy shows up in your relationships. The people around you might insist on only being in the comfortable parts of life. They resist the difficult seasons, judge the extremes in themselves and others, and something in you gets frustrated. You can see the whole picture. You know that the messy parts are as valuable as the neat and tidy ones. And Miss Cranky Pants gets impatient with people who refuse to see that. I've seen it many times, and I live with this regularly. My hubs doesn't get that. Yeah, I get frustrated or upset with things, but that doesn't mean that I want to skip the tough stuff or even walk away. He will or would, especially in the interpersonal stuff. He'll avoid the confrontation altogether or declare that guy's an asshole and will stop engaging with the person or even walk away unless there are compelling reasons for him to continue the relationship. He has little patience for and doesn't understand my willingness to work my way through the tough times, rather than just walk away because it's uncomfortable. We've been married for 41 years, so he's used to me, but it's not unusual for him to encourage me to go ahead and just quit instead of seeing a situation through. He much prefers the comfortable parts of life, the consistency, and he really resists the difficult seasons. And he totally doesn't understand it when I judge myself so harshly about these extremes in my life. Happily, I've learned how to navigate my highs and lows and the seasons and rhythms. It took some doing, but I got there. This means I have less of this cranky pants energy in my life. Yay! So these are the two versions of cranky energy and the you were made for the full spectrum, not just the pretty parts energy. As a reminder, one version is running underneath your daily activities. That feeling of, I should have a routine, but I just can't seem to stick with it, and what the ever-loving fuck is wrong with me? You might shame yourself about this, but nothing is wrong with you. You were just handed someone else's instruction manual and told that it was yours. The other version of this cranky pants energy is how impatient you get when others around you prefer the ease of the comfortable times and try so hard to avoid the challenges and the difficult seasons. They don't see the whole picture the way you do, and you can get frustrated with them for this. So, in our next chat, we look at what the you were made for the full spectrum, not just the pretty parts energy looks like in everyday life when it's working exactly the way it should. And that version, she is something to behold. I wouldn't miss it. I sure hope you don't. Thank you so much for being here. Find your happy. Love what you do. Go make a difference and come on back to me safely. See ya.